Merissa Clementson is a dedicated business expansion consultant, entrepreneur, and a registered financial planner with a passion for empowering individuals to achieve financial independence. Her approach is rooted in building strong networks and fostering individual connections, ensuring that every person she works with receives personalized and strategic financial coaching. Marissa's soft spot for women fuels her mission to help them transform into the best version of themselves, not just financially, but in all facets of life. Merissa Clementson, I am enough.
Growing up was painful. Every single day I went to school, I was made fun of because of how I looked. Coming home from school was no different. Every single time, the arguments between my parents was no different. It made home feel just as bad as school was. The worst part was every time they argued, I heard my name. I felt I was the reason for everyone's unhappiness. I used music and dancing to overcome the trauma. I was only 13 years old when I heard them argue. I heard my name over and over and over again. What they didn't know was I planned to run away. I packed a bag. I made a plan. I got a friend to find me a place to sleep. Later that day, he fetched me and he took me to a place. He said I would be fine. I was so young and naive. I didn't know it was a shebeen. I stayed in the room all day. Later that evening, I went to bed. He got into bed next to me and he started touching me. I asked him to stop. He just wouldn't. I managed to get away. I ran to the bathroom. I locked the door and I slept on the floor all night. The next day, I managed to escape. Through the rest of the years that went by, I used my music and dancing to overcome things. And then it happened again. It was my final matric exam. They argued. I heard things being thrown around. I was so scared. I phoned a family member and asked him to please come and help. In the meantime, he phoned the police. They arrived simultaneously. They found me studying on the pavement. My biggest goal was just to finish my matric exam and get through everything. Few days later, I finished. I got myself a job in a nightclub, and that came as no surprise because I love dancing. I'd like to share a story. One night, I begged my mom's friend to please allow her children to go clubbing with me. They had a curfew. She said they could go, but they needed to be out of the club by 11 o'clock. We agreed. We were excited. We wanted to dance. We enjoyed ourselves so much, we lost track of time. The next thing we heard was a crazy woman shouting in the nightclub. And when we saw her, she had on a blue nightgown with a stocking on her head. Imagine the embarrassment. Through music and dancing, I have gained confidence. I've gained new friends. And that is where I met my husband, by being his friend. We dated, and eventually he asked my parents for my hand in marriage. My parents said to him, "You need to love her unconditionally." I never understood what they meant. We got married and things was tough. I did and said terrible things to him. I've learned bad behaviors from my parents. Until one day I sat and I thought, I have a husband that loves me unconditionally. But every time we argued, I would be the one that would say, I've had enough. We need to get a divorce. I decided to make the change and seek therapy. I made an appointment with a counselor and we sat. He asked me, what is it that you like to do for fun? I couldn't answer him. Eventually, I said, I cook, I clean, and I take care of my family. And he said, that's not an answer. After weeks of therapy, I realized I was damaged. I was so damaged that I've never forgiven my past. I didn't know how to love myself. And working with my counselor, I made the decision. I need to just love myself and put myself first. I am enough. I made the decision to not let my past define my future. When children are born, there is no manual that teaches us how to love and raise children. As parents, we don't realize how the impact of trauma affects a child. As an adult, there is no handbook that tells us how to be married. We take the information at hand and we do what we think is right. As wives, mothers, daughters, sisters. The biggest lesson that I've learned was we need to constantly empower and educate ourselves. We need to break bad cycles. We need to learn from our mistakes. We need to learn to forgive. And we need to learn to love unconditionally. I am Merissa. I'm here to share my story. I'm here to inspire women and young girls to change the narrative. Connect with me on LinkedIn.